Municipal Council will come to order. Please stand and join in the salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. I entertain a motion to approve the records of February 21st, 2023. Second. Order. All those in favor?
Aye.
The records are approved. I entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
We're going to suspend the rules in order to recognize some individuals that are here tonight, and then we'll continue on in the normal process that we normally proceed. So, any questions on that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The rules are suspended. So, with that said, Councilor Angelo, and if
Jennifer and Deb.
Deb could come forward, please.
Thank you, ladies.
I'd like to read this resolution from the Attleboro Municipal Council. It's from the Attleboro Municipal Council resolution of appreciation for the Attleboro Angels. Whereas Jennifer Spalding and Deborah Riley are Attleboro residents and caring citizens who are the founders of the Attleboro Angels, and whereas Jennifer and Deborah have generously donated their money, time, and effort to provide assistance to those in need, whether homeless, experiencing food insecurity, escaping domestic violence situations, or assisting children at the Christmas is for Kids with Kelly Fox. And whereas Jennifer and Deborah were the first of these angels starting about 5 years ago, but have been blessed with so many angels along the way, including at least 20 main angels that help their community in a variety of ways to be sure people are assisted and directed where to find services they need. And whereas the Attleboro Angels help with resources in directing those in need to larger established programs or help in the interim until people can get more substantial help, their hope is those who get back on their feet can give back to others. And now therefore be it resolved that the Municipal Council of Attleboro hereby extends its deepest appreciation for the generous work and care given by the Attleboro Angels, especially Jennifer Spalding and Deborah Riley, to a grateful community. Signed and sealed the 7th day of March in the year 2023. Todd Kobus.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let me just say one thing. These two people have taken care of so many families and did so many incredible things for families that have put smiles on the face. Even when Christmases for Kids couldn't take on anymore, this family of Attleboro Angels just continued on and just were helping people. But it wasn't just at Christmas time, it's year round. I mean, every time I look on the Attleboro Angels Facebook page, there is someone that is helping. And if I would encourage any of you guys to get on the Attleboro Angels page and look at it and see all the great things that they do for people and how they help out and stuff. And it goes on. These guys don't stop. It's like 365 days out of the year. And they still have full-time jobs that they do in addition to helping everybody else. I mean, they are angels. There's no doubt about it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys are incredible. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Next, we'll move on to the public hearing. Madam Clerk, will you read the notice for the first public hearing?
Yes, sir. First regarding the proposed amendment to the following ordinance change in section 3-1.1, building, to insert, in addition, in the mayor's discretion, the mayor may add to the inspector of buildings duties the management of facilities, maintenance and repair issues for city-owned buildings, in which case the position of Inspector of Buildings shall be titled the Inspector of Buildings and City Facilities Manager, and classified in the manner and on the terms set forth in the classification plan.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor?
Good evening. I hadn't intended to speak, didn't know this was on, but Jack Jacoby, 15 Prince Street, also serve as chair of the Municipal Building Commission, and I have been advocating for a long time that we need to take care of our buildings with someone who knows what they're doing. And I don't mean to single anyone out, but we hired Amy Reilinger because of her library skills, not because of her building management skills. And you can go through the city roster. And so therefore, I think this is long overdue, and I urge you to adopt it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions for Attorney Jacoby? No. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Is there anyone here to speak neither for nor against? This is in the Personnel Committee. Would you like to close this public hearing?
Yes, sir.
I declare this public hearing closed, and that's the last public hearing, but I would like to mention that there's a public hearing for the library parking exception, and that public hearing will be coming up on March 21st, 2023. I think there might have been a little mix-up with the advertising of that, so just to clarify, that public hearing is coming up on March 21st, and that's for the library parking exemption, for senior citizens. All right, moving on. Madam Clerk, will you read the mayor's communication?
Yes. March 7th, 2023. Dear Municipal Councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Park and Forestry Superintendent Derek Corsi regarding the need for funds to repair an issue with the DPF system on the 2014 Ford F-350 AC-1. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $2,500 from account 1124-1000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1292100-524230 Animal Control Maintenance of Vehicles. Copies in your packets.
Public Works Committee?
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the need for funds to purchase required crossing guard uniforms for new employees. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $1,750 from account 1300100-519110 Education Allowance Clothing to account 1301000-558-310 Education Uniforms. Copies in your packets.
Public Safety?
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the donation of 15 2022 Massachusetts criminal law textbooks and 6 2022 Massachusetts criminal procedure textbooks from Commonwealth Police Legacy Incorporated with an approximate value of $1,680. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to accept this generous donation. Copies in your packets.
City Properties and Claim?
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Recreation Dennis Walsh regarding the need for funds to purchase the seat and rope for the zip line and the saucer swing at the Briggs Playground that are broken and need to be replaced. This request includes a 10% contingency. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body transfer $8,042.92 from account 1124100-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 1630100-585012 Recreation New Playground Equipment. Copies in your packets.
Public Works?
As your honorable body may recall, the Willett Elementary School roof is categorized as urgent in the fiscal year 2024-2028 capital improvements program. Willett Elementary School was built in 1941 and the roof was replaced in 1987. This roof is over 35 years old, leaking, and is past its useful life expectancy. Unfortunately, this project is not MSBA reimbursable. The time has now come to finally replace this roof. A recent analysis of the roof has the estimated cost of $2 million. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to approve the following loan order. Ordered that $2 million is appropriated for the designing, permitting, bidding, construction oversight, and construction costs associated with remodeling, reconstruction, and making of extraordinary repairs to roof and windows at Willett Elementary School, located at 32 Watson Ave in Attleboro, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. The project. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow $2 million under Section 7(1) of Chapter 44 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority. That the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out this project. Additionally, I hereby request your honorable body to hold a public hearing on March 21st, 2023. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee. And Councilor Conti, do you want to have a public hearing on March 21st?
I would.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll have a public hearing on March 21st.
I respectfully submit a communication from City Auditor Deborah Gould regarding funding for the design services of the Willett Roof Project. On December 20th, 2022, your honorable body voted to authorize the use of $60,000 for the Willett Roof Project. In part, this service includes establishing a project timeline and budget. The next step in the project is to engage a design firm for the design of the roof. The estimated cost for designer services for the Thomas Willett Elementary School roof repair project, which includes some window and related interior repair work, is $150,000. In order to provide an available funding option for the design services for the Willett School roof project, I recommend that the $125,000 that was funded in fiscal year 2021 for the COA feasibility study be transferred to the Willett roof project. As you know, the cost of the feasibility study for the COA was funded by an earmark. As such, this $125,000 is not needed for that purpose. The balance of the $150,000 could be funded by using available free cash. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $25,000 from account 1000-359000, General Fund Undesignated Fund Balance, to Fund 3433, Willett Roof Project, and further to transfer $125,000 from account 356859900, COA feasibility study, other financing uses, to account 3433-499000, Willett Roof Project, other finance sources. Copies in your packets.
Finance Committee.
I respectfully submit a communication from Legal Secretary Allison Wood regarding printers that the Council on Aging would like to declare as surplus. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packets: an HP Office Jet 4690, HP Jet Pro 6978, and HP Desk Jet 1112, and they're all inoperable.
City Property and Claims.
I respectfully submit a communication from Legal Secretary Allison Wood regarding office furniture that the Council on Aging would like to declare as surplus. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packets. We have three chairs, chair number 1, chair number 3, chair number 4, and a desk.
City Property and Claims.
I respectfully submit a communication from Legal Secretary Allison Wood regarding a vehicle that the Recreation Department would like to declare as surplus. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packets. It's a 2003 Ford Ranger, and it's in very poor condition.
City Property and Claims.
I respectfully submit a communication from Legal Secretary Allison Wood regarding equipment that the Park and Forestry would like to declare as surplus. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to declare the following as surplus and available for disposition. Copies in your packets. We have one hot dog cart, one 2003 GMC Sierra, one 2008 Ford F-350, one Kubota mower, and one Kubota snow blower, all in poor condition.
City property and claims.
Sincerely, James J. Delisio, Acting Mayor.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk, can you go on and read the clerk's communications?
Sir. Clerk's communication, Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. This is to inform you that on March 2nd, 2023, the City Clerk's Office received the notice of resignation from at-large City Councilor Kathleen D. Simone. This resignation will take effect at midnight on Friday, March the 10th, 2023, in accordance with Section 2-64-55-5 of the revised city ordinances as amended, changes the way vacancies are filled in elective positions of municipal councilors, school committee, city clerk, city treasurer, and city collector by requiring a special election by the voters.
Ordinances, elections, and legislative offices committee.
We have received a letter from Deborah and William Blackburn thanking the council for eliminating the $50 fee for the storage of propane.
FYI.
We have received a letter from Ken Batcheter, Executive Director of Attleboro Retirement Board, informing all that the Attleboro Municipal Contributory Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 27, 2023, at 9 a.m. to discuss the cost of living allowance, COLA, increase for retirees and surviving beneficiaries. This meeting will be held remotely.
FYI.
That concludes the clerk's communication.
Excellent. And I entertain a motion to go into committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now in committee of the whole. Is there anyone here to address the council on any matters before the city?
Yes.
Welcome.
Jack Jacoby, 15 Prince Street, Chairman of the Municipal Building Commission. You just read into the record the mayor's request concerning the Willett School, and I wanted to explain to you what was going on and why we're doing this and why we're asking you to act in a much quicker time frame than we normally would. So first, let me just say, as to the project, the Willett School, built in 1941, underwent a major renovation in 1993, but the roof was not touched at that time because it had just been put on in '87, amazingly, before I was on the building commission.
Before we start, when you say act faster than we would normally be asked to act, how quickly are we talking about? We just scheduled a public hearing for the 21st. I mean, that's...
Yes, but
Okay.
if I can?
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Well, I was just going to say that the roof is leaking, and there are some windows that are in bad shape, and the estimated cost, we had some work done by Russo Bar to look at it, is around $2 million. That's the bond issue that came down. But and I'm not sure how or why this happened, but back in December, you were only asked for $60,000, and that is enough to start with an OPM, but it is not enough to fund the full OPM contract. And so we are phasing that into two phases. The first phase to get the designer on board and get a design, and then the second phase is for construction, oversight, and administration. So we only have $60,000. We need about $138,000 to complete the OPM contract. So that extra money is in the bond issue that you are being asked to authorize. In addition to that, we know that we need to hire a design professional, and we need to hire that design professional very quickly. So that is the $150,000 that came down, of which 125 is money we don't need for the Council on Aging feasibility study, and 25 comes from free cash, as I understand it. So what we would really need to do to make this project work is that we need to interview design professionals and choose one in a month or less from now. And in order to sign a contract with them, we need the money. And so the reason we need to hire them so quickly is that if we are going to start this as soon as school ends in June and work on an unoccupied building, and here's the need for speed. If we are going to get this thing done, it's at least a 10-week project. So if we can start in late June and finish in late August in an unoccupied building, we will be able to have this project done appropriately. If we do not adhere to the schedule that's in Deb Gould's memo and is in Laura Gignac's memo, then we would be faced with the choice of trying to do this in the fall in an occupied building, which will cost us more because it will be occupied, and it will have an educational cost because the students will and teachers will be in the building when people are banging nails over their head. And the other alternative would be then to wait till the summer of '24. And of course, we all know that the inflation will occur, number one, and number two, the roof will continue to leak, and so the decking underneath will get more rotted, and we will spend more money fixing it. So we are asking you to hold a public hearing on the 21st, if you are willing to do so, to hold a committee meeting and bring it out of committee, and to authorize it that same night. And that is so that by April 4th, all of the documents would be in place that that are needed to assemble by the city clerk. On April 5th, it would go to the treasurer to go to bond counsel. And April 10th, bond counsel has agreed to turn this around on a very expedited schedule. I don't know why it slipped through the cracks and we only had 60,000. I'm not here to cast aspersions on anyone. It is what it is. But at this point, if we are going to get this project done this summer, we really have no choice but to really, really fast track it through this council, through the Municipal Building Commission to choose a designer, get that out on the street in May so that we can hire a contractor in June and be finished before Labor Day. So I just wanted to come before you and say, I appreciate your efforts as a council if you can do this for us. I really appreciate the efforts of Deb Gould, Laura Gignac, Molly McLean, Carol Brown, Gary Arazian, Clerk Jackson, Virginia in your office, the mayor's office, and if I've left anybody out, I'm sorry, but this was an enormous group effort over the last 10 days to get this thing together. Gary has even agreed that the planning board will take this up at their March 20th meeting the day before the public hearing. So everybody is doing everything they can, and we just really appreciate the fact that you hopefully would be able to help us out and move this, as I said, a little more quickly than we normally would. But I have grave misgivings about letting this project go to the summer of '24. And I just think that if we were to try and do it in the fall and tell the contractor they can work 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, when the people aren't in the building, it will take at least twice as long, and we will pay a huge premium for that. So I just wanted to make everybody understand why we were doing this and why we were asking for things to be done so quickly.
Thank you. Hi, Jack. Thanks for coming down about this and sort of bringing to our attention the urgency. So just so I understand, so we already appropriated the 60,000, and then we have another item for the 150,000. That includes 25,000 that will already sort of be in play, plus 125,000 that would be transferring from the COA feasibility study over. And then you said that there's a piece here that would be needed more imminently from that $2 million bond. Is that correct?
No, the 150 will allow us to hire the designer.
Okay,
The 60 that we already have will allow us to do phase 1 with the OPM.
okay,
Then, once the bond comes through, we can do phase 2 with the OPM, and we can sign a contract with a contractor.
Okay.
And so that's, you know, for
And
those
that's
at
in order
home
to
who
be on
don't
the June.
understand this, we can't sign a contract unless there's funding in place. The auditor isn't allowed to do it. She wouldn't do it anyway, but, you know, that's the way municipal government works.
okay. Thank you for that clarification, I appreciate that.
Can you clarify that the 125 from the feasibility study is still happening? That's just the state ended up covering that money, and that's, so it's not taking away from the feasibility study?
Yeah,
Okay.
I suppose you could return it to free cash and then take it out, but I
Right.
guess it's easier administratively just to make one transfer instead of 2 steps.
Just wanted to make sure that people understood that
Yeah, so
COA
the-
feasibility study is still happening, that we ended up getting earmarks from the state to cover that.
It's been slowed down a little bit by the fact that we don't have a council on aging director.
Sure.
And we're also looking at sites carefully, and there's a question before the city solicitor, and I hope, he told me this afternoon, he thought he could give me a call on it tomorrow. We'd like to get that back on track, and hopefully the mayor-elect will take office and hire a budget director, a personnel director, a council on aging director. She's going to be busy.
Councilor Conti next?
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Jack. I watched the building commission meetings, and all of your candidates for the project management all said that given the current environment, that it's very likely that this was going to stretch out until September, and they were all talking about how they would make actions to try to avoid that, but it seemed to be inevitable when I was listening to everybody before you awarded a contract to Skanska, who reluctantly said pretty much the same thing. So my question to you is, what communication vehicles are between the building commission or the OPM and the school system to make preparations for construction on site in the fall when the children are still in school?
If they don't finish, then what we will do is we will require the contractor to start work at 3 o'clock. There may be some punch list things, there may be the last week of work. We'd require them to start work at 3 o'clock and work as long as it was light. What I would imagine would happen is that an intelligent contractor, if there was only a couple days work left, would say, I'm going to start on Friday at 3 o'clock and I'm going to work till Sunday at 7 o'clock and I'll be finished, rather than coming in 4 days in a row for 4 hours at once. So, and I have confirmed with Mark Furtado that the building will be empty so that we will have free rein to get this thing done. Because this is not a flat roof, it is a pitched roof with shingles. We believe that there's an opportunity, if it's a larger contractor who gets the bid, that they can put 2 crews on at once, in which case, instead of taking 10 weeks, it might be 6 or 8 weeks, which would really be ideal. We just don't want to specify at this point, unless the designer tells us we should do otherwise, but I don't want to specify that you have to have 2 crews, because that will limit the universe of people who can bid, and the larger companies may try to take advantage of us. So I want to be wary of that, because $2 million is not an insignificant sum, but we never want to exceed the amount of the estimate.
Well, it's a big roof and it's a pitched roof. So, the high school was $1 million roof, but it was flat and it was rubber. It was a lot different. This is an architectural piece. I mean, that school is a very attractive school, loved by many, and I too want to express my appreciation for everybody in the government working quickly, because I've seen the memos between the auditor and the treasurer, and we'll do the same here, Jack. I'll get it through the council as quickly as possible.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. And what you didn't see was the 300 emails that have gone back and forth.
Thank you for not copying me on those.
Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. I just have one more question. You spoke to some of the urgency of needing this in terms of the roof being in really, really bad shape. Can you talk a little bit more about what kind of shape it's in currently and what we're looking at going into the spring and sort of summer and maybe even the rain in the spring for potential damage if this is delayed?
Every time water gets underneath the shingles, something below it gets damaged. So the first thing that gets damaged is the decking, the plywood decking that's underneath. And when that gets wet, then you have to pull it up and replace it. And so we want to limit that to what will be happening already and to June 20th or so, and not have it be any worse. The other thing that's happening is that then when the water migrates its way below the decking, then it gets to damaging everything from ceiling tiles to walls. There are also some windows in one particular area that are in terrible shape. But again, the roof and the windows don't owe us anything. They're 35 years old, so it probably exceeded, I don't know because it didn't say in the report whether we got a 20-year warranty or a 30-year warranty on the roof shingles. If it was a 20-year warranty, we really got lucky. If it was a 30-year warranty, we still exceeded that. But the problem always is that water is insidious and it goes everywhere. And when it goes there and sits there, especially when it's held in by the insulation, it rots what it's on. So did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
So I just want to thank you for your time and thank you for your efforts and thank you for the commitment, Counselor, and all of you. We look forward to getting this done in a timely manner and holding the cost to as low as possible.
Thank you.
So I would encourage everyone to reach out to Attorney Jacoby ahead of time, ahead of the public hearing, if there are specific questions that you might have beforehand, because I think we'd like to try to move this forward on the 21st and vote it through on the 21st. So anything to try to smooth that through and make people comfortable to vote on the 21st would be great. I'm normally very opposed to voting something all the way through in one day, especially $2 million worth of an appropriation. But I think in order to get this through the process and done during the summer, I think it makes sense, or I do personally. So please reach out if you have questions. I appreciate you coming here and giving us a heads up. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
all right. Is there anyone else here to address the council on any matters before the city? Hearing none, I move to arise from council of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are risen from council of the whole. Next, we'll move on to committee reports. And we'll start with licenses.
The License Committee does not need to meet tonight because we have no business at this moment. So we will meet at the next appropriate time.
Excellent. Moving right along. Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee from the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to transfer $13,700 from account recreation salary and wages to the following accounts to fund the rest of FY23. $4,000 to Lights and Power, $2,000 professional services, $200 office supplies, and $7,500 rec grounds.
Second?
Motion's in order. Councilor Dolan?
I have no comments. We discussed this in committee.
Excellent. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Councilor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to transfer $6,000 from park and salary wages to park professional services to fund police details needed for tree removals throughout the city, porta-john cleaning, and geese abatement services at Judy Robbins Park.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Dolan?
I have no comments. We discussed in committee.
Anything else? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the
Sorry.
sorry.
Counselor Dolan.
From the docket, can I waive the reading on the ordinance for this one?
Yes.
I read it in committee?
Yes, yes.
Okay. From the docket of January 3rd, 2023, I move to approve the following ordinance amendments for 12-6 inclusive municipal playgrounds.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Dolan.
Again, we discussed this in committee, but I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
And that's all the business for Public Works, and I look forward to a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Counselor Conti.
Reporting for the Finance Committee from the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to authorize the school department to pay previous year's school bills totaling $5,809.29 as listed below. Road and Network, $275, Hub Technical, $62.20, Lifespan School Solutions, $5,372.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Conti.
We did discuss this in committee. The expenses are legitimate. Copies were given all counselors, and I would recommend its passage.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. From the docket of March 17, 2023, I move to appropriate $24,000 from the account Water Enterprise Fund reserved for transfer to the following accounts to provide extra funds needed for fiscal year '23. $13,000 to the Water Enterprise Fund Health Insurance HMO Fund, and $11,000 to the Water Enterprise Fund HMO 500 account.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Conti.
Just some necessary help keeping to keep up with the expenses.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank
Counselor.
you, Mr. Acting President. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to appropriate $25,000 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the Treasurer's Medicare tax account for funds to pay the med tax for non-school and non-enterprise employees.
Second.
Motion's in order.
That's explanations ditto. It's a necessary expense to keep up with the increasing expenses, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Angelo. Counselor
Mr. Angelo.
Oh, yeah. Counselor Angelo.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus.
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to appropriate $40,000 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the Treasurer Professional Services account to pay attorney fees for the remainder of fiscal year '23.
Second.
Is in order?
Mr. Acting President, I explained during a committee meeting that this is for tax takings and foreclosings, and that in the process, the treasurer has already recovered, I think it was $723,000, well worth the added attorney fees, and that concludes my comments.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman.
Yes.
Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Angelo.
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to transfer $2,000 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the treasurer professional services account to contract with an arbitrage, rebate, and refunding specialist.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Until last week, I didn't even know such a thing existed, but it's an IRS specialist that we have no alternative but to hire to navigate the convoluted path of the IRS. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. That concludes the business the Finance Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting at the next appropriate time. And with your blessing, I will move on to report for the IT and Infrastructure Committee.
Sounds good.
From the docket of March 7, 2023, I move to transfer $4,000 from the citywide reserve fund for transfer account to the following accounts for the balance of fiscal year '23. $1,000 to Budget and Administration Online Services account and $3,000 for Budget and Administration Data Processing account.
Second.
Motion's in order.
So the IT department purchases the ink cartridges for the entire city hall departments. That's why that number is so large. And this is just a ongoing budgeting to supplement their budget, which was too short last year, and I encourage its passage.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President. That concludes the business that the IT and Infrastructure Committee has to bring before the council this evening. And with your blessing, I'll move on to Zoning and Land Use Committee.
If you could also report for zoning and land use, thank you.
Thank you. From the docket of February 7, 2023, I move to accept the following pursuant to Section 6-22, 2.2 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro as amended to lay out a portion of Dale Court, length of 280.21 feet from Station 2 plus 41.37 to Station 5 plus 21.58 as a public way and profile entitled Street Acceptance Plan, Dale Court Extension, Attleboro, Mass. Dated June 6, 2021, revised through August 23, 2021, prepared by Lucas E. Kilm, RLS, and Todd Pilling, RPE, which plan and the profile have been deemed satisfactory to the Superintendent of Public Works, and that concludes my motion.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Vice President. This will expand our Chapter 90 funds by 280 feet. So we're accepting a city that is well-built and passed inspection, and I would encourage its passage.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the Business Zoning and Land Use Committee has to bring before the council this evening, and I wish to thank you for a historic night. This is the first time in my career that I've reported for 3 committees.
You're welcome.
I think just continue on.
And if we can bounce back to transportation and traffic, and Counselor Bennett, thank you.
Thank you. Reporting for Transportation and Traffic Committee this evening. Report, from the docket of September 20th, 2022. I move to strike the following. I entertain a motion to amend Section 10-4.11 of the revised ordinances, isolated stop signs, by adding eastbound drivers on Jefferson Street at 5th Street.
Second.
Motion's in order.
Thank you. No additional comments. This was discussed in committee.
Perfect. Any comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yeah.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of September 20th, 2022, I move to strike the following. We received a letter expressing concern from Juliet Tezera of Hainish Road regarding Snell Street traffic light removal.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Bennett?
No additional comments. This was discussed last week in committee. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of October 19th, 2021, I move to strike the following. A request to review the traffic and speeding patterns of widely used cut-through streets in South Attleboro, specifically Mendon Road and Carlton Street.
Second.
Motion's in order.
This was discussed last week in committee, and not to say that our work is done in this area, but I think for the moment, we've done what we can for the moment, and I think there's more to come on this, pending some actions by the state in that area.
All right. Any other comments?
I ditto that.
This requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business for transportation and traffic this evening, and we request a meeting at the next appropriate time. And with your permission, I'd like to report for ordinances.
Please.
Reporting for the ordinances committee this evening, there is no business for the full council. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's see.
Me.
I think we're at city property and claims.
Reporting for city property and claims from the docket of March 7th, 2023. I move to accept the generous donation from the Bristol County Sheriff's Office of a black 2020 Ford Expedition to the Attleboro Police Department.
Second.
Motion's in order.
I have no further comments.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I move to declare the following DPW equipment as surplus for trade in value: 1989 International, a 1997 GMC Sierra, a 1970 Mueller 6CF cement mixer, a 2000 Stone mortar mixer, a 1999 Graco line laser 1 paint machine, and a 2001 Graco line laser 2 paint machine. They're all in very poor condition.
Second.
Motion's in order.
I have no further comment.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I move to declare the following items from the Water Department as surplus and available for disposition: 200 used water meters and a 2010 Ford Ranger with bed and body rot.
Second.
Second.
Motion's in order.
No further comments.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman? Ms.
Yes.
Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
From the docket of March 7th, 2023, I move to declare the following police department file systems as surplus and available for disposition: 2 Cardex Lake Triever Series 80 and 2 Acme rotary file storage cabinets. They're all in poor condition.
Second.
Motion's in order.
I have no further comments.
Any other comments? Hearing none, this requires a roll call vote. We'll start with Counselor Angelo.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
That is all the business for city property and claims this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And let's see, who's the second? Counselor Reynolds, can you report for public safety and just call for a committee meeting?
I can, if I can, just call for, Oh, so the Public Safety Committee has no business this evening, but I would like to call for a meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. And Counselor Conti for the Special Committee on Tax Abatement.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President, to make it a record 4 committees.
There you go.
From the docket of February 21st, 2023, I entertain a motion to adopt the following language in Section 2 of the Senior Tax Abatement Program. Amount of abatement. A person who participates in the Senior Tax Abatement Program be entitled to a maximum tax abatement of $1,000 in exchange for hours worked for the city. The maximum number of hours will be determined based upon the Massachusetts minimum wage rate. The amount of the abatement shall be reduced to ratably for a participant who performs less than the maximum hours of work in the program.
Second.
Motion's in order. Counselor Conti?
This is a stopgap to advance the program with the changing times, but there is a lot of work that's going to come down the pike on this. That whole system, that whole program is going to get overhauled by hook or by crook and over by dead body. That concludes my comments.
Are there any other comments? I applaud your work pushing this through. Excellent work on this, Counselor Conti.
It needs a lot more.
I applaud your work moving this through at where it is now. So
Thank you.
we
And
could
I
have
would also-
waited for perfect, and
Yeah.
we would have never got anywhere.
Yeah.
That's a good
So-
point.
I would like to echo the applause on that. And hopefully, the program will grow, Councilor Conti, as we find more places for the people to work.
Excellent. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, this requires a roll call vote, and we'll start with Counselor Waterman.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Dolan?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Acting President Cobus?
Yes.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. That concludes the committee reports. We have no old business, we have no new business. I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 7:52. Thanks, everybody.
Great.